good. It's been a few weeks really since I've done a live stream. To make sure that everything is fine. Yeah, I hope you are all good. I have updates and stuff that I want to share with you, so I thought doing a live stream would be a good way to do it. And then we're going to speak about essentially why your day game at the moment probably sucks absolute balls and easy things you can do to fix it. All right, so the phone is currently balanced against a laptop. I've got like a list on the laptop of shit that I'm gonna speak to you about. So hopefully by watching this live stream all the way through, you'll get a good idea of your particular blind spots. Maybe I'll say things that you weren't aware of and you'll think, oh yeah, cool. So the next time that you go out there and start chatting to girls, you can be mindful about the mistakes that you might be making, that you might be unaware of. So yeah, a lot of fucking value in this one. Hope you get a lot from it. Updates I want to share with you before we actually get into it. First of all, Conversation Killer is now out. So if you want to learn how to have the best cold approach conversations in the game, which are going to astronomically set you apart from every other guy, then you can get instant access to that now. So I'll leave a link in the description after this live stream is finished, but it's currently at its lowest ever price. So it's only 50 quid. So it's the price is going to increase as time goes on. So if you want to get instant access to that now at the lowest ever price, over 4 hours of instructional exclusive video content, including exclusive infields, a date with a Russian 10, which is like the hottest girl I've ever met through Daygame. So you can get all of that right now for only, it's actually less than 50 quid, it's like 49 quid. So all that will be available in the description. Other updates that I want to give to you boys before we start is I have recently introduced a 4-week coaching program, which I'm really excited about. So this program is for anybody who wants a extended immersive coaching experience. All right, so yeah, you can do a weekend with me. You can have that intense hit of day game motivation, knowledge, wisdom, learn everything in a weekend, intense. Or you can have an extended coaching program where essentially the program it's individually tailored for you, for your personal sticking points. So all the details for the program are on my website, www.christiancasanova.com. But essentially, we meet up for 2 5-hour in-person sessions every single week for 4 weeks. In between the time that we spend together, I'm going to be setting you homework that you are going to complete on your own. So solo mission. So essentially, you're getting the best of both worlds. We meet up for 2 sessions per week, and then you go off into the wilderness to apply what you've learned with me, and then you're going to meet back up with me the week later for successive 4 weeks. So we're having our time together, and then you're going off in your own time to give you an impression, a flavor of what it's actually going to be like. Because, it's one thing doing a weekend, but then it's like you do the weekend and then you're on your own. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're going to have accountability calls, but the beauty of the 4-week program is you do 2 sessions with me, then you go off, do the shit on your own, and then you come back to me, and then it's like we keep doing that. So yeah, this program really is for anyone who wants that extended, immersive accountability experience. All the details are on the website about that. So, 1 second, the laptop's just gone off. So yeah, head over there if you're interested in having that longer coaching program. And then the final update is I'm going to be in Brazil for January and February, which is going to be fucking exciting. I'm going to head over to Brazil for the new year. So my birthday's on the 12th of January. So I don't know, I'm just in the mood, you know what I mean? In the mood for an adventure of a fucking lifetime. So I thought to myself, well, obviously, whilst I'm going to be over there, I know there's a lot of guys who follow my stuff who are in the United States, also guys who follow my stuff who are based in South America themselves. So for January and February, and for a little bit of March as well, I'm going to be in Brazil, which is going to be crazy. So I'm going to post more details about specific dates and program soon. But if you're watching this stream and you're interested in working with me in Brazil, then drop me an email, ukdaygame@gmail.com. There's nothing publicly shared about this apart from on this live stream. Spoke with Ed a little bit about it on the podcast that we did, but yeah, if you're watching this and you're like, yeah, that would be sick, I want to get involved in this, like, especially February with it being the carnival, like, I've not experienced Brazil before, I've never been there, so we're going to be doing it together, do you know what I mean? I do speak Portuguese, so that's a benefit. But yeah, if you're interested, you want to work with me out in Brazil, maybe you're in the States, maybe you're in South America, then this is the time to do it. No idea when I'll actually be back there again. So it's essentially 2 months. It's a 2-month window that you've got. So come and join me in Brazil and just have the adventure of a fucking lifetime. Like I'm really excited about it. I've been toying up for a little while about where I want to go because obviously I've been here, there and everywhere this year. But I don't know, something about going over to that part of the world which feels like crazy alien to me, do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you want to get involved in that adventure, then drop us an email, ukdaygame@gmail.com. There will be more information about it on my website soon, but like I say, if you want to get in early, then now is the time to do so. So yeah, in this live stream, I want to share with you boys why I think a lot of guys, why their day game sucks fucking balls, and tweaks that you can make to make your ability to flirt with girls during the day a lot better. So in no particular order, the first thing that I notice with guys who I coach is their actual approach sucks balls, all right? So in Conversation Killer, we go into detail in Module 1 about the importance of immediately establishing yourself as a man of value. And it's in the first 3 seconds of your approach are the most important. People don't understand this. I used to think it was the first 7 seconds, but the more I've coached, the more conversations that I've had, I realize that the first 3 seconds are everything. And this applies to everything in life. Like, people will make a snap judgment of you within the first 3 seconds. It might even be less, but those first 3 seconds are crucial when you're going over to a girl. And I think a lot of guys make the mistake of thinking that all they need to do is go over to a girl, and because Daygame is socially unorthodox, they almost see Daygame as this cheat code into the sexual marketplace, which it can be for the right guys. Like, if you become hyper proficient at cold approach conversations, then Daygame for me is the best way to gain access to girls that you wouldn't have had access to otherwise. You're not battling against an algorithm which doesn't have vested interest in your personal success, but you have to get that approach on point. So as soon as you go over to that girl, you need to be immediately establishing yourself as a man of value. So the way that you actually stop a girl is key, all right? So imagine there's a girl walking, all right? For some reason, this is like, guys, especially beginners, they'll have a lot of resistance to going over to the girl who's walking. But what I need you to do, especially if you're a beginner listening to this, is get used to approaching girls who are walking as soon as possible. Because if you're always dependent on talking to girls who are stood still or maybe sat down or maybe they're like walking really slow, then you're missing out on a big pool of people who you can actually have conversations with. So as soon as I'm working with my guys during our one-on-one sessions together, we're getting that stop down ASAP. Like, a guy will come to me and I'll be like, okay, how do you usually go into your conversations with girls who are walking? And usually there'll be like a vacant stare. I'll be like, I see what we're playing with here. Usually they won't go in for those ones. So as soon as we start working together, that's the first thing that we focus on. It's how to make your actual approach 10 out of 10. All right, you have to get that on point. Like, if you're going out there and you're wondering why your results or your conversations are not going the way you want them to go, it's usually down to the way you're actually going in there, that immediate impression that you're giving off. And this is holistic as well, all right? This is completely holistic, from the way that you dress, the way you carry yourself, the eye contact that you make, the energy that you've got going in there. Like, energy is a bit of a woo-woo word, but when people talk about vibe, yeah, you've probably heard that word before, vibe. I define vibe as your level of logical looseness, all right? So when you first go out there, let's say you've not really spoken to anybody, your vibe's probably going to be pretty shit, yeah? You're going to be up in your head, you're going to feel very logical, you're not going to feel loose. But the more conversations you have, the more loose you will feel. And one of my personal like techniques, whatever you want to call, we speak about in Conversation Killer, is called pre-gaming. All right, so I've made podcasts, I've written blogs on this concept, but essentially, I want you to get yourself into as good of a social state as possible before you actually start having your proper cold approach conversation. So maybe that's going to a cafe with your friends before you have your conversations. Maybe that's going around the shopping center and just complimenting as many people as possible. Maybe it's being really social in the office, at work. The more social interaction you can get throughout your life, the better your vibe will be, because you will be in this constant state of logical looseness, okay? The problem that I find with guys who do day game is they don't get enough social interaction throughout their day-to-day life. And day game becomes their only means of getting social interaction. The only people they speak to outside of maybe their work colleagues are the girls who they're approaching on the street, okay? You need a hyper-social lifestyle. You need to be finding fulfillment in many things. And when you are going over to that girl, those first 3 seconds are going to absolutely slap, because you've had that positive social momentum behind you. Like I say, we go into all of this in detail in the first module of Conversation Killer. So if you're someone and you know in yourself, you struggle when it comes to approaching girls who are walking, or you don't feel as though when you're in your conversation, you're making a good enough impression, we cover it all in there. But something really practical you can do is just start smiling more. All right, just start smiling more when you go into your actual conversations. Like, having a smile on your face will not only put you at ease, but it'll put the girl at ease who you're speaking with as well. A lot of guys, especially beginner guys, and I get it, like I've been there, when you are the beginner and you feel as though, fuck me, bro, this is really difficult. Like, I'm going out here, it feels socially unorthodox, like people are like fucking looking at me. You have the tendency to almost like scrunch and like curl inside yourself like a little fucking possum. And you're not smiling, yeah, and it makes you come across as some like serial killer. So take a breath, get yourself grounded, feel your feet planted against the floor, walk over to that girl with full conviction, okay? Conviction is key. If you don't have conviction going into those conversations, you're setting yourself up to lose before you've even opened your mouth. When you see a girl who you're really into, the mindset I want you to have is treat this as the final time you're ever going to approach a girl. After this, for some unknown reason, a meteor is going to hit the world and everyone fucking dies. So you have to go in there and play to win rather than playing not to lose. And when you do go in for that conversation, remember the first 3 seconds are crucial. So you want to immediately be establishing yourself as a man of value. Again, we talk about this in Conversation Killer, but make sure you've got a smile on your face. Just having a smile on your face, it doesn't have to be a cheesy grin plastered across your face, like Krusty the fucking Clown. But you do want to have a facial expression which communicates to the world that you're at ease in this conversation, and you're a normal guy as well. You know what I mean? You're not a strange person. You're a normal guy, smile on your face, got a fun, interesting life behind you, and your approach will when you go into that conversation, you'll be setting yourself up to win, okay? Because you started in the right way. But again, just because I'm trying to like get as much value to you boys as possible, like I want you to make a point, the next time you go out there, to focus and prioritize on girls who are walking fast or who are essentially walking, because I don't want you to get into the habit of only approaching girls who are stood still, like stationary girls. Like 100%, like if you see an absolute worldie, she stood still, like don't obviously not go in for it. But I want you, when you go out for your next session, whatever, just to make a point to prioritize girls who are walking, because I want you to get that stop on point. Like I say, when I'm working my guys one-on-one, the vast majority of guys will never have stopped a girl in what I consider to be the best way. All right, I'm not a fan of the traditional London day game model-esque like running and then like putting your hand out, like the whole like front stop thing. I think it just makes you like a fucking moron. I just don't think it looks natural in the slightest. And I also think it looks very gamey now, especially if you're doing that in London. Like any guy who's doing the whole running front stop in London, you just immediately stick out as a guy who is doing day game. For me, it's more subtle, okay? There is a video you can watch, actually. It's if you type in how to approach a girl on the street and get her number, like Christian Casanova, whatever. I go into it in detail in that video. This is a more subtle stop. So you're getting like parallel to the girl's shoulder. You're saying, excuse me, you're waiting for her to make eye contact with you, and then you're coming around. It comes across, it feels like a more natural way of going into a conversation rather than running, being like, hi, excuse me, what I noticed about you. And like, because you're running, you're probably going to be a little bit out of breath as well. Your words are going to come out faster. And that is the second thing really that I want to speak to you about, which is the speed in which you talk. All right. So every guy I've ever coached has had the same problem, and I guarantee you will have the same problem as well, where you speak too fast, okay? You speak far too fast. Like I say, if you're doing the whole London Daygame running stop, then your physiology, the way you're actually moving, will affect the speed in which you talk. Oftentimes when guys are going out there, especially when they're on their own, they're up in their heads, they're not paying attention to life, they're walking really fast, their breathing is shallow. When they go into that conversation, it's like regurgitating all the shit that they've got inside of their heads, and they're speaking fast because it's a defense mechanism. It's like their brain wants them to get out of that conversation ASAP, so they're not marinating in the moment. Instead, they're rushing to get out of the moment. And this is a problem because when you speak fast, you give the impression that you are unsure of yourself. You come across as a nervous little boy rather than a man of value. And like I say, those first 3 seconds are everything. So if you're running up to a girl, regurgitating 100 miles an hour of whatever it is that you're going to say, you're not making that solid first impression. And she's just going to be thinking like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, why is he so apprehensive to come and talk to me? So you really want to audit the way that you speak, okay? Something really practical you can do is just simply start recording your conversation. So using the voice recorder app on your phone, capturing the audio through your headphones. Yes, it might feel cringy to listen to yourself back, but it's in my opinion, it's necessary. That's what I used to do when I was teaching myself this stuff. I'd go out, I'd record the conversations, and listen to myself back. So on the 4-week coaching program that I was speaking to you before, one of the things that you're going to be urged to do during our 4-week training program is when we're not together, what I want you to do is record the conversations that you have on your own, and then you're going to be able to send those conversations to me over WhatsApp, and I'm going to dissect the absolute fuck out of those conversations to give you real-time feedback. So let's say your name's James. I'll be like, right, James, listen, that conversation that you had there, decent, like fair play. You went in there, you approached with conviction, you carried the conversation well to start with, but you're speaking too fast. You're not giving the girl long enough to answer. You're not finding out who this girl is. So maybe the next time that you do it, use some solid open questions to build some more bulletproof investment. Like find out who this girl actually is through the use of open questions. In Conversation Killer, I share my favorite open questions to build bulletproof investments. That's one of the chapters in the course, so you can go over and check that out now. But yeah, during our 4-week program, this is something which is crucial to give you the learning, but also you still got me in your corner. All right, so you're going out, you're having your conversations, you're recording them, you're sending them to me, so that therefore I can still be coaching you when we're not together. And then when we link up the following week, I know exactly where you're at. I'm like, right, James, that conversation that you sent me, that conversation, say you sent me like 5 conversations that you had, we know exactly what we need to work on when we're together. Like I said, we've got 2 5-hour sessions per week to put this stuff into immediate practice. So yeah, that's why for me, this is the best way to become hyper proficient at Daygame. It's a case of we do our sessions together, you go off into the wilderness, you send me the evidence of what you've been getting up to, I give you the no bullshit feedback, and you've got that constant hit of immersion and accountability. So again, if you're interested in that, go to the website www.christiancasanova.com, drop me an email ukdaygame@gmail.com, and we can get that sorted for you. So yeah, if you're in your conversations, record your conversations. Also, practice breathing. All right, it sounds weird, but like when you're in your conversations, there'll be a tendency to speed up because you're not actually breathing. So breathing through your nose, but also when a girl says something to you, don't be in such a rush to latch onto it, okay? Instead, something like really practical you can do, it sounds a little bit basic, but it fucking works, is when a girl says something to you, just count in your head to 3, all right, before you actually respond. Now, don't be doing this every time she says something, but let's say a girl says to you, where are you from, all right? Rather than just being like, I'm from Leicester, all right? She's like, where are you from? And then just look at her for a little while, all right? Have the smiling eyes, a little smirk. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm actually from New York. So just leaving that hiatus between what she said and what you're about to say, it will put you at ease and also makes your conversations more seductive as well, because it's not this constant back and forth like a rapid tennis match, yeah, where it's like bang, 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 bang. It's like she hits the ball over to you, you take your time, and then you hit it back, all right? So just having more of a relaxed feel. Now, 100%, I understand when you are a beginner, it can feel like everything's going at like 100 miles an hour, and it can be quite difficult to ground yourself and acclimatize yourself. What I would say is, if you are a complete beginner, treat the first 3 or 4 conversations that you have on that particular day purely as practice, purely to get yourself into a more grounded state. So you've probably heard the mantra, the first one is the worst one. That is true to an extent. The first conversation that you have, especially if you've not had much social interaction that day, will most likely not be the poetic masterpiece that you're capable of. But just having the mindset that these first 3 or 4 conversations are just for practice, they're just to get yourself into that socially optimistic state of mind, and remind yourself that the best is yet to come. I think oftentimes guys will go out there, they'll have, let's say, 2 conversations that don't go the way that they want, and they'll write off Daygame, they'll write off Call Approach, they'll write off themselves as men, they'll be like, it doesn't work, it's not for me, the girls don't like me. But it's like going to the gym and going home after you've done only 2 warm-up sets, being like, oh, I'm not strong enough, oh, I'm not really feeling it today. Like, you'll want to do it when you get into that flow of actually doing it, all right? So you have to essentially just suck up the pain period, right? It's like I'll oftentimes go to the gym, I'll go to train, like, for example, so I'm in Bucharest at the moment, and by me there's this beautiful park, okay? So I woke up yesterday and I was just feeling groggy as shit, yeah? I was just like in this fucking mental rut for whatever reason. And I knew to get out of this rut, I had to do things that I didn't want to do, all right? I had to put myself through the fire. So because the park is literally, it's like a non-excusable distance away. So anyway, I went to the park, it was freezing fucking cold, and I did 10 sets of hill sprints. Now, the first 2 sets of those hill sprints that I did not want to be there. I was like, fuck's sake, why am I doing this? My knees are fucking cold. Like, I could just be inside, not in the mood for this. Like, it's like you feel as though like you need to be in the mood in order to actually do something. But after I got those first 2 sets out the way, I started to get a little bit of a sweat on. I started to feel it a little bit more. 3 sets in, feeling better. 4 sets, 5 sets, 6 sets. By like the 8th set, like I was like, bro, I can go all day here. Like, I feel great right now. And like after completing the workout, just having that sense of accomplishment, like stacking those wins throughout your day was key. So whenever you first go out there to start having your conversations, don't quit just because you're not in the state you want to be, okay? To get through it, you have to go through it. So let's say you go out there, you had like 2 or 3 conversations and you feel, fuck, my conversation's not landing the way I want them to. Like, that's absolutely fine. Like, give yourself permission to suck at first, all right? Like, oftentimes, like, I'll go out into the world, or maybe like when I'm making a video like this, like the way that I start the video, I might be feeling a little bit socially lethargic because I've not really warmed up my vocal cords yet. But now, after we're like 20 minutes deep into the discussion, I feel better. I feel as though I can grasp onto the language better. I feel as though I can get my words out and express my thoughts and opinions better. It's just like anything, okay? You have to just sit in that tension for long enough so you can actually start to enjoy yourself, okay? So, get your approach on point. Remember those first 3 seconds are everything. Remember that it's holistic as well, okay? So the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, the way you dress, your energy, your vibe, the way you stop that girl. Something else as well, which I want to share with you, which I don't think I've actually publicly shared before, is a person's feet will always point in the direction that they want to travel, all right? I'll say that again so it actually sticks. A person's feet will always point in the direction they want to travel. So something that I teach my guys during our one-on-one sessions is just pay attention to where a girl's feet are pointing, because if a girl's feet are pointing at you, then that's a good sign. That means she is happy and wants to be in that conversation with you. If you're chatting with a girl and her feet are pointed in an opposite direction, that's usually an indicator that you have not stopped her in the right way, or it's an indicator that she's about to eject herself from the conversation soon. So when you are going in for those conversations, pay attention to where a girl's feet are pointing. If a girl's feet are pointing towards you, happy fucking days. That conversation can go on for as long as it wants to go on for. But yeah, I learned that from Dan, and he said like a girl's feet or any person's feet will point in the direction they want to travel. So pay attention to the girl's feet positioning, okay? And the other point as well is ejecting too quickly from your conversations. Okay, so you've probably heard about this. It's like, what is it, premature ejaculation, whatever the fuck they used to call it. But it's a real thing, and beginners do it all the time. It's like you're speaking to a girl, and if you've not acclimatized yourself to longer conversations, you'll be in that conversation for 20 seconds. You'll think, shit, starting to run out of things to say. This feels weird. I want to get myself out of this conversation. But you have to remember, it's the quality of your conversations which are going to lead to results, okay? It's not counting your approaches, it's making your approaches count. The way you make your approaches count is by turning your approach into longer quality conversations that build bulletproof investment. So if you're someone who struggles to stay in their conversations longer than, let's say, 30 seconds to a minute, then that needs to change. You're not going to get any solid results from Daygame unless you start to have those longer quality conversations which build investment. So really simple, stay in those conversations longer than you feel comfortable doing, okay? So it could simply be a case of asking a girl a question like, so what do you do in this city? What do you do for fun? What are your plans for the weekend? What are your plans for the evening? What do you usually do on a weekend? Just asking a girl an open question and letting her flesh out the conversation, it's just going to get you used to marinating in the actual conversation for a bit longer. Because I get it, like when you're first there, you're worried that you're intruding on this girl's day. You're like, oh fuck, I'm not sure if she actually wants to be speaking to me. But remember, look at where her feet are pointing. If her feet are pointing at you, it's happy fucking days. You can stay in that conversation. But also understand that you need to listen to a woman's actions and not necessarily her words. So if you're speaking with a girl and she's looking at you, she's smiling, you're getting good indicators that she's receptive, just stay in there, okay? Stay in there. Like, don't be the one to, like, if she says to you, oh, I'm in a rush, I need to go, best thing you can say is, okay, before you go, all right, it's the best thing to say if a girl's in a rush. She's like, oh, I'm in a rush. Okay, well, listen, before you go, and then you can either ask her a question, like, just at least tell me your name, at least tell me what you're up to today, where you're going off to in such a hurry, or you can just go for close there and then. I think going for a close is better than just letting her go. It gets you used to practicing the close as well. It's not ideal. Yeah, you want to be having longer conversations, but the more you open, the more you close. If she is in a massive rush, but you feel, really into that girl, feels as though we could have a good connection together, then just go for the close anyway. Just be like, listen, I appreciate you're a very busy lady. Before you go, I know this is a little bit out of the blue, but drop us your number and then maybe we can do something another time. You give yourself the opportunity there, but yeah, don't be the one to eject from the conversation ASAP. Because what you'll find is you feel strange about staying in your conversations for a long time simply because you've never done it. But it's about developing a new normal for yourself. So let's say all of your conversations at this point in your Daygame career have only lasted for a minute, okay? That becomes your standard practice. But then as soon as you have a conversation that lasts for 3 minutes, then your mindset shifts and it's like, oh, 3 minutes is now my new normal. And then let's say you have a 5-minute conversation. Right, 5 minutes is now my new normal. Like when I first started this, my conversations when I was teaching myself this stuff in Leeds, my conversations only consisted of open and close. I literally just go up to girls like super direct. I'd go around the university campus and be like, yo, I just saw you, you look amazing. I feel like we should like go and do something together another time. I appreciate it's out the blue or whatever. Like conversation lasted like 30, 40 seconds, if that. All I knew was open and close. I actually did get results from that, but the results were not good enough to last the long term, especially I remember going to like other cities. So like I started off in Leeds, and I went to Newcastle, London, Manchester, and I found then that because the caliber of girl who I was approaching these alternative cities was a lot higher. It wasn't just university girls. It was like, you know, busy, young, working professionals, girls who'd got like their shit together. Like those short conversations didn't really cut it. So I had to improve my own conversation ability and teach myself to stay in those conversations longer. And again, recording your conversations is good for this as well, because then it teaches you about your own conversational duration. Yeah, if you're recording your conversations and you're finding that your conversations are only lasting like 45 seconds, then it's a sign you need to extend those. Because oftentimes we think our conversations are better and are longer and are more interesting than they actually are. So when I'm coaching my guys during our one-on-one sessions, my students are fitted with a Rode wireless microphone. Okay, so it'll be the same for you when you come work with me. It's a case of you've got this microphone, it's completely invisible, no one can see it, but that is what allows me to give you that individually tailored feedback in real time. So a guy will come out of these conversations being like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and because I've been able to actually listen to it and be like, right, listen bro, what's going wrong here, and I'll get the list out of what's happening. So oftentimes we are completely unaware of our own sticking points because we've never had an expert opinion on it. All right, so even if you've got like, I don't know, a wing, all right, say if you're going around your city with a wing, like get your wing to time your conversations, get your wing to give you feedback on your body language, your posture, how you actually look going into your conversations. Maybe the way you dress sucks absolute balls. Maybe you look like a fucking homeless guy or a pauper. Get your wing to give you no bullshit feedback. Like if he's a true friend, then he'll help you. But the problem you'll find with wings is the wing is there for themselves, all right? The wing is there because they can't do it on their own. And look, I've got no problem with wings. I think every guy should have people. I don't think you should be the lone wolf with this. But the difference between a wing and a coach is a wing is there for themselves. A session is only, for the wing, the session is about them, all right? They're with you because they can't do it on their own and they need that social safety net there, which is fine, but you need to understand that is a differentiation between a wing and a coach. Like when you're working with me, the session is all about you, all right? You are the VIP, right? And everything will become apparent to us as we're working together. But if you're with your wing, especially, you know, you might both be into the same girl, so you end up getting in each other's way, or maybe one of you is doing really well on a particular session, and one of you, say your wing's got 5 numbers and you've got 5 blowouts. There can be an ugly differentiation there, which can affect the synchronicity between the two of you. So, you know, have people, but also make sure that you can do this on your own. The beauty of it is when you work with me, you get instant access to my private network. So I've got networks all across the UK. So you've got ready-made networks there of like-minded individuals who's gone through the full Casanovian process. So you know, that's another beautiful byproduct as well. But yeah, if you have got a good wing, just get him to give you some feedback on those things, especially like get him to gauge how long you're actually staying in your conversations for, because usually that's a big sticking point. The other thing why your day game probably sucks absolute balls is because you lack variety, all right? If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And I find a big problem with guys who do this is they become creatures of comfort, all right? They'll be going to the same places at the same time, approaching the same type of girl, and they'll get into a routine, all right? They'll get into this familiar routine where they go around the same streets, approaching the same type of girls, and they'll never push themselves beyond the familiar, beyond what they're comfortable. They'll remain on the carousel of comfort, and that's why people will plateau with day game, because the problem is, because day game is very difficult, when a guy starts getting some success, he will sit on that success rather than elevate into the next level. So let's say the guy's been shit scared to approach and have conversation with girls his entire life, and then he approaches a girl, let's say he approaches like a 5 one day, he gets really good results with her, then he approaches another 5 and another 5. His level becomes, oh, I'm the guy who just approaches the 5, when realistically he wants to be dating hotter girls and that, like we all do. But you only be dating hotter girls if you start approaching hotter girls. You know what I'm saying? Like, hot girls are not just going to throw themselves in your lap. Like, you actually have to go over, approach them and have conversations with them. Like, I remember listening to one of those Andrew Tate motivation videos. It was when I was in Krakow in August. And someone asked him, yo, Andrew, like, how do we get better with girls? How do we get better speaking to hotter girls? How do we start dating hotter girls? How do we bring hotter girls into our lives? And I was expecting him to be like, oh, you know, you need to get money, you need to get power, you need to get status, you need a fucking Bugatti. By the way, what colour's yours? But he said something super practical. He said, like, if it was him and he didn't have any of the materialistic trophies that he has now, he would make a point to speak to 2 new girls every single day. That is cold approach, like in person. He said, you'll go out and you'll just speak to 2 girls. Go and approach girls. He says something like, you know, don't worry about the actual results. It's having experience around those girls. And I was blown away by that. I was not expecting Andrew Tate to be giving guys day game advice. But I respected him for that, because I think when you're a guy like that, because he came from nothing, so he's got that reference experience. But I think putting himself in the shoes of the average guy, you know, the guy who is starting from scratch, I think that is stellar advice. Like, if you're a guy listening to this live stream, go out for this next week, all right? Go out for this next week, especially if you're a complete beginner, and make a point to approach 2 girls who you're attracted to. Do it every day for the next week. All right, and don't pussy out on, because like, if you are a beginner, you've got nothing to lose. I mean, you've never got anything to lose anyway. But like, I think if you are a complete beginner, then don't just be kind of baby stepping on the beauty scale. Like, just go outside and start approaching the hottest girls you can see, because what it's going to do for your mind at this, like, in these early formative stages, is that's going to become your normal. You're the guy who can approach the absolute worldies. And do you know what? You'll even be surprised, because the thing with the absolute, like, creme de la creme of girls is no one's approaching them. All right, I've made videos about this, of me approaching like the certified stunners in Conversation Killer. You can watch me go on an instant date with a Russian 10. Like, no one's approaching these girls. Like, everyone thinks, oh, the hotter the girl, the more she's going to be getting approached in person. It's the complete opposite. The hottest girls are not being approached in person because guys are completely intimidated by them. Like, the girls, the absolute worldies who you see strutting down the street, the worst case scenario is you will get crazy amount of respect from that girl, because you've been the one person out of a multitude of many men who've actually had the audacity, the confidence and the conviction to go over to her, stone cold sober, declare your desire in a non-needy way, and have a human conversation with her as well. There's an infield that I posted ages ago, which is me speaking to a Swedish model, and it's like, yo, saw you look great, but what else do you do? I know you're a model, but like, what's cool about you? And it's like, you know, beautiful women are insecure as well. And I think being able to speak to a beautiful woman as a person rather than as a hot girl will change the dynamic, all right? Like, she shits exactly the same as you. She's got her insecurity. She's got her doubt. She worries that people won't take her seriously. She worries that her beauty might be a problem because people, like we say, are intimidated by her. Like, I remember reading in Zan Perion's book, The Alabaster Girl, he said that beautiful women are secretly lonely because they're never truly included in people's plans. Like, their friends are jealous of them and guys usually just want to fuck them. So they're actually secretly lonely and they feel as though they're not actually included in the lives of people, which is an interesting concept. I think we think like, oh, you know, if we were a hot girl, like, life would be sorted. It's the same as like kids who are like brought up rich. Like, I think that's one of the worst things that can happen to a child. If you're brought up rich, people just think, oh, you've got it made. But it's like, being brought up rich, it comes with its own set of problems as well, because you've never been taught how to struggle for anything. Like, I've said it before, but men need to starve in order to succeed. We need to be able to smile in the face of adversity and go through struggle in order to taste the milk of paradise. Like, if everything's been handed to you your entire life, you've not got any reference experience of what it's like to go through the fire to actually achieve the things you want in life. And that's why I think Daygame is the ultimate equalizer. We don't have a rite of passage these days for men. We don't have the the rite of passage where we go into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights and return a man. We've got no great war that we're fighting against in the West. It's like in Fight Club, he says, like, our great war is a spiritual one. Like, I think not enough men have got that purpose, that driving force, that springboard for tomorrow, where they're waking up and they've got this insatiable appetite to succeed, that drive. I think if you're someone and you are simply content by your life, then you're going to be miserable. I think you need to be pissed off in life, yeah? Not perpetually, but you need to be pissed off about something. There needs to be a drive within you that, fuck, I need to change. I need to get to that next level. Like when I was growing up in the Lake District, single parent household, complete social fucking misfit, like spotty, socially anxious teenager. Like I made the decision very, very early at 13 years old that I wanted to elevate my existence. I wanted to perform magic. I wanted to have an international lifestyle where I'm performing magic, first of all around the UK, then around the world, blowing people's minds. I wanted to do it first and foremost because I wanted to be a better, more socially competent human being, and obviously it spiraled. And I think, guys will look at me and my life, and they'll be like, when I'm talking to girls, they're, oh, what do you do? I'm a magician. They'll be like, oh, it's easy for you. You're a magician. You've got this international lifestyle, but it doesn't happen by luck. It happens by design, all right? So if you're watching this and your life is not the way you want it to be right now, then it's all on you to fix it. One of the best mindsets, the best mantras is, it's all your fault, all right? It's all your fault. Take that self-accountability and remind yourself that if you're not in the position that you want to be in life, then it's up to you to change it. Rather than being a victim, be a victor, yeah? It's like, right, okay, I can actually change my shit. I don't have to stay as a static spectator. I can be an active player. So I went on a tangent there. Which I appreciate, but the point is, don't be stuck in your ways, all right? Don't just go out there and be like, oh, I only approach the sixes, I only approach the fives, and don't be pussying out. Like when you go out there, I need you to push yourself. Like I'm speaking to you like I speak to my guys now, but it's necessary. Like when you go out there, like you need to fucking push yourself. There's no good going out there walking around the streets for an hour, approaching like 3 girls who you think are like easier to approach, and then complain that your results suck balls or feeling like less of a man because you didn't actually show up. Again, it's all your fucking fault. So if you want to have outrageous results in anything that you do, you're going to need to push yourself. You can't just be doing the same shit your entire life and expect different outcomes. Like if you want to be dating hotter girls, go and approach hotter girls, go and chat to hotter girls. Make it a point this week to go out every single day and have 2 conversations. It's not going to take you long to do. Like having 2 conversations with 2 attractive girls once a day for this next week, like that will give you crazy momentum, and it'll also give you that springboard for tomorrow that I'm talking about. Again, like Daygame is not your entire reason for being. You need a life outside of this, but 2 conversations per day with girls who you're attracted to. And if you're a beginner, I don't expect these to be poetic masterpieces, but I do expect you to be able to practice your actual approach. So going in there, excuse me, hi, do you speak English or whatever language you're using? I just wanted to say that you look fantastic. What are you up to today? Have a little conversation. If you feel as though the vibe's there, go for the number. Fucking happy days. If that's your first time going out there, you're able to open, ask her a question and go for a close, bro, you're fucking winning. So yeah, I want you to be going out there with full conviction, with certainty in your own capabilities as well. I think these days, most men are plagued by perceived lack of self-worth. And most men, I heard Aubrey Marcus say this, most men currently are frustrated because they lack love from the feminine. I think this is another point that I want you to get is you need women in your life. You need girls, like you need that beautiful feminine energy. Like all this like manospheric red pill content, which is like, oh, don't be friends with women, only have women in your life who you're sleeping with. It's just a bunch of fucking bollocks. Like you need that beautiful feminine energy in your life. Like men are frustrated because they currently don't have love from the feminine. I've never heard any more true words spoken. Like most of these manospheric red pill, black pill, men go their own way type of guys, they're just scared little boys who just want to be wanted, all right? They desperately lack love from the feminine, but they make it feel as though women are not their reason for doing things. It's like, oh, I'm going to get on self-improvement, meditate, cold water exposure, gratitude journal, gym, juice, sleep 8 hours. I'm not doing it for women. I'm just doing it for me, bro. And it's like, yeah, 100% do it for you, but you have to understand on a biological level, you are doing it because you want love from the feminine. We're guys, right? We need women in our lives. If you're a guy, especially if you're a typical lone wolf, so you've got a limited social circle, you don't have beautiful women in your life who you can speak with, who you can do fun things with, then that's a problem. I'm writing a blog at the moment as well, which is going to help you. If you're a guy who currently doesn't have a vibrant social circle, then I'm writing a blog which I'm going to put out for you, which is basically how to actually build a social circle when you've got no mates and you're basically just sitting at home all day watching porn and eating pizza. So that'll be for you. I'll upload it ASAP. Free to read. You can go watch it, you can go read it on the website. But yeah, I want to recap this so you're getting the value. See if I can fucking remember the shit. Right, when you're going out there, approach a girl with conviction, okay? Make sure you're going over there like a man of value, establishing yourself the way you want to establish yourself in those first 3 seconds. Because I think there's nothing worse than coming out of a conversation being like, fuck, I really didn't get myself across there. I really don't feel as though that girl got me, all right? I feel as though like she just sees me as like one of those like fucking game guys or like a weird guy. So you have to be going in there playing to win rather than playing not to lose. Treat this approach as like the final time you're ever going to do this in your life. Don't eject yourself from the conversation as quickly as you have been doing. Take your time in conversation. So slow down, breathe, feel your feet planted against the floor. Ask some more open questions to get the girl speaking. So it takes the pressure off you to be constantly the one carrying the conversation. Record the actual conversations that you have as well, okay? So if you're working with me, you're gonna send those conversations over to me when we're not working together so I can give you that no bullshit feedback. But when you are recording your conversation, I know it's cringy as fuck, but listen to yourself back, okay? Listen to yourself back, audit the speed in which you speak, the tonality, the intonation, the rhythm of your voice. Are you giving the girl long enough to actually answer your questions, or are you just bulldozing through there because you're scared of the silence? Okay, you have to remember, let the silence do the work, okay? Let that silence do the work. Marinate in the moment with her. Use that seductive eye contact. The eyes have got a language all of their own. And variety as well. You know, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So don't just be staying static. Don't just be going to the same place at the same time, approaching the same type of girl. Don't put yourself into an identity box. It's like, oh, that's just how I am, or that's the type of girl who I can get. I'm only deserving of this type of girl. I hate that shit, bro, because it's like, you don't realize how limitless you actually are. I was listening to, Andrew Huberman, the neuroscientist guy. I was listening to a podcast with him. I think it was on Modern Wisdom, with Chris Williamson. Listened to a podcast and he said something. This is coming from a neuroscientist as well, so he's very like logical. He's not into like the woo-woo shit, but he said this thing that stuck with me for like the past 2 days after listening to it. He was saying he was speaking to this female colleague of his who does a lot of like shit with like the mind and stuff. And she said to him, it's all internal, all right? She said it's all internal. And like, I meditated on that for a bit. Like after he said that, I paused the podcast, listened to it, let it resonate within my tapestry of understanding, and put the podcast back on. He was like, it's all internal. And what this means is we attach meaning to everything in our lives. Yeah, it's like Shakespeare, nothing is good or bad, thinking makes it so, and perception is reality. And it's like, it's so crazy how malleable the mind is and how our mind dictates the narratives that we follow. It's like, oh, I was this way as a child, so therefore I have to be this way forever. Oh, I didn't get picked for the football team when I was 7 years old, so that means I'm unworthy of love. Oh, my parents got divorced when I was 5, so that means there must be something wrong with me. I must not be deserving of healthy relationships. There must be something toxic about me. It's like all of this it's all interpretation, and what you have to understand is your your personality, your identity is shaped by your perception of what is real. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what even is reality? Like, what is good? What is bad? Like, it's just crazy. I'm not gonna get like too deep into this, but it's mad. And then there was this other podcast I listened to on modern wisdom with a guy called Peter Crone, who he's called like the mind architect. But he said, like, he was working with this woman who, like, basically hated herself, and she felt like she was always playing, like, second fiddle in relationships, so she didn't get the love that she felt like she deserved or wanted. And she thought she was an absolute piece of shit. And this guy, Peter Crone, said to her, just as a thought experiment, what would you do if you were the most important person in the world? Like, imagine you were the most important person in the world, because that thought is just as valid as you saying to yourself, I'm the least important person in the world. Perception is reality. And he had this mantra, which was, who would I be in the absence of my concerns? Like, who would you be in the absence of your concerns? Like, what would you do if you weren't scared? What would you do? What would you do if you weren't fearful of the outcome? What would you do if you weren't fearful of what people thought about you? It's mad, isn't it? Like, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And when you understand that it is all internal, like, you can fully decide how things affect you, it's crazy. I've been reading, if you listen to my podcast, the Christian Casanova podcast, the last episode that I published on there was, in my opinion, like the best podcast that I published. Podcast number 89, I think it was. I talk about this book. It's called The Wisdom of Psychopaths. And it teaches you how to implement the positive personality traits associated with psychopaths into real life. Because people are like, psychopaths, it's all bad. It's like chainsaw wielding fucking masochists. It's not like that at all. Psychopathy in this book, as it expertly illustrates, is it's the ability to be mentally detached, emotionally detached, especially in high pressure situations, which is so applicable for Daygame. It's like, if you can go out there and be emotionally detached from the particular outcome, but simply going out there and having this, almost like a scientist doing experiments, like, let's just see what happens, let's go and investigate, let's just go out there, and the only positive result is us showing up. Like, anything that happens after that is a bonus. So yeah, I'd recommend reading that book. It's not really one that would be synonymous with seduction, but The Wisdom of Psychopaths is fucking great. You'll get a lot out of it, especially if you're a guy who's attracted to Daygame as a discipline, going out there, freeing yourself from bullshit, doing what most people don't have the balls to do, doing what scares you on a daily basis because you're committed to that personal renaissance of becoming the greatest version of yourself possible. Like, read it, it's great. There's a lot of case studies in there as well. But yeah, The Wisdom of Psychopaths. I don't have a fucking affiliate link, so you'll have to go over and find it for yourself. But it's good. I might make like a video on it. I might make a video about like these three books that will make you ridiculously successful with women. That'll be one of them. There you go. You heard it here first. But yeah, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground in this. The final thing that I want to say is the final reason I would say that your Daygame sucks absolute balls is because your conversations themselves suck absolute balls. So your conversations are bland, robotic, and boring. Girls, when they're speaking to you, they feel as though you're just regurgitating the same shit that you say to every other girl. You don't come across as a conversational natural. You don't come across as someone who can just have these situationally beautiful conversations with individually tailored points of interest to speak to the girl about. She's speaking to you, but there's no humanization there. You feel like a pickup robot, or you're asking all the bland hairdresser questions, the closed questions, which only require a yes or a no. She's speaking and she's like, this guy's fucking boring. He doesn't have anything else going on outside of his life. I'm asking him what he does, and he's like, go to work and kind of like go home and like go to the pub with my mates on a Friday. It's the actual conversations are the most important thing when it comes to Daygame. If your conversations are shit, your result with Daygame will be shit. And it becomes apparent to me when I start working with guys who think their conversation skills are really good. They're not. And that's the reality of it. Like, guys will work with me and be like, oh, Christian, like my conversation skills are fine. I just need to get over the approach. That's all I need to do. I just need to get over the approach. I can take care of the rest myself. I'll be like, right, well, let's fucking see. Get the mic on, listen to his conversations. The conversations are absolutely atrocious. Be like, bro, you're not building investment. You're not getting the girl interested in you. There's nothing violently differentiated about you, what you do. The questions that you're asking the girl are just like fucking boring, bland questions. I'm posting a video tonight as well, which you can watch for free, which documents this, the one biggest mistake that you will definitely be making in your conversation with girls, which I've not heard anybody else speak about. So that video will be getting posted tonight. But yeah, the conversational aspect is the most important part of Daygame. Like if you want to get quality results from Daygame, you need to be having quality conversation. I say to my guys who work with me, I say in Conversation Killer as well, every guy who wants to get amazing results from Daygame needs to be having between 10 and 15 quality conversations per week. For me, that's the sweet spot. I've spoke about this, like guys will ask me, yo Christian, what are your stats, bro? Like how many approaches until you sleep with girls? It's like, bro, you're asking the wrong questions. Approaching is a dead metric. It's not about approaches, it's about conversations. If I have 15 quality conversations in a week, like these have to be quality conversations. That's the only metric I give a fuck about. If I go over to a girl, I'm like, oh, excuse me, you look great. And she's like, oh, sorry, I've got a boyfriend, I need to go. That doesn't even register. That doesn't count. That's not a quality conversation. A quality conversation is a conversation that lasts for a good 5 minutes. You know you've built that investment through all the conversation skills that you've learned, and you've come away from that conversation being like, yeah, fucking nailed that one. You know in yourself the difference between a good conversation and a great conversation. So out of 15 quality conversations in a week, I would expect at least 7 to 8 girls to respond to my first text. Out of those 7 to 8 girls, I would expect at least 3 of them to be down for a date within the next 7 to 10 days. And out of those 3 girls, I would decide who I'd want to go on a date with. I probably wouldn't date all 3 of them, because depending on what state I'm in London, bro, that shit's fucking expensive. But that's abundance mentality. It's like, okay, you've got 3 girls who realistically you could go on a date with. Which one do you like the best? I mean, look, if you want the experience, you've got the money, you fucking go for it. But I don't like to be spending my money on like a multitude of girls who I don't really know yet. I'd much rather have one amazing date with one girl who I was really into than like 3 mediocre dates. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd rather spend like, I don't know, like 60, 70 quid on like an absolute killer date with a girl that I was really into than like 30 quid here and there with 3 girls and like meh. So yeah, for me, it's always been about quality over quantity. And when I meet girls who I really get on with, you know, the vibe is there, she's beautiful, I'm into her. I like being able to take girls out on quality dates. I didn't really used to do this back in the day, like when I started 2 years ago. Like it was just a case of, right, go to this venue, go to this venue. But I like to create an experience these days. Do you know what I mean? Because it just makes you feel good as a guy as well. Do you know what I mean? It makes you feel good if you're able to like meet a girl, you've got this violently differentiated lifestyle, she's into you, you're into her, and you can just have this like experience like out of the ordinary. You're not just like another guy who's just taking fucking Weatherspoons. But yeah, that's just me. But yeah, out of 15 quality conversations per week, I would expect to have at least 3 girls from those quality conversations who would realistically be willing to go on a date with me within the next 7 to 10 days. And like I say, out of those 15, I would realistically these days go on a date with 1 and make that particular date killer. Because as well, like, I've got other shit going on in my life. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be fucking going like on a date like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Like, I hate that advice that guys will give. Like, other like coaches will be like, if you're not going on 3 or 4 dates a week with new girls and you're failing, it's like, shut the fuck off. Like, what? Who the fuck has got time to be going on 3 or 4 dates with 3, 4 new girls? Like, what else are you doing in your fucking life? If for me, if a guy's going on 3 or 4 dates a week, like, look, each to their own, but for me, that guy's got fuck all else going on in his life. He's basically, he is a day gamer. He's learned day game and he's become a day gamer rather than using day game as a way of complementing his life. Like, each to their own. It's just me. Fuck me, I don't even know how long I've been speaking for, but I hope you've enjoyed this one. Like I say, Brazil boot camps, they're fucking happening. I'm literally buzzed as fuck. I've not told my mum I'm going to be going to Brazil yet. That'll be something that'll break out over the Christmas period, I think. Not sure how she'll receive it, but my mum knows about all this stuff, by the way. She watches my videos, so like say hi to my mum in the comments, please. Nothing rude. If you post anything rude about my mum, you will be fucking lifetime banned from this channel. So only good things only. But yeah, Brazil boot camps. If you're in the US, or even if you look, wherever you're at in the world and you want to work with me in Brazil, drop us an email, ukdaygame@gmail.com. We'll have a free 30-minute consultation call. There's no pressure whatsoever to sign up. If you just want some more details about it, how much it's going to cost you, what's actually included in the package, ukdaygame@gmail.com. Just email me being like, hi Christian, so your live stream, interested in the Brazil bootcamp, can we have a call? And like I say, you get to speak to me for 30 minutes, no pressure whatsoever to sign up. I'll be able to disclose the details there. I've got a spot on my shoulder that's gonna get popped soon. I find it really nice to like fucking, like pop in like fucking spots and shit. Like some like, I don't know why. I think it's like David Dida explains in The Way of Superior Man, man's always searching for freedom. You're always looking for that release. It kind of feels like ejaculatory in a way. You're like, oh yeah. What was I saying? The business shit. Brazil. Yeah, if you want to join me out in Brazil, ukdaygame@gmail.com. Conversation killer. I'll put the link in the description. Everything we spoke about in this live stream is just the tip of the iceberg. Like everything I've learned about conversations over my decade plus of being an international magician and being a #Daygame coach, it's all in that. It's all in Conversation Killer. For only less than 50 quid, you'll get over 4 hours of instructional step-by-step video content, exclusive in-field footage, and a date with Russian 10. You'll also get a full Conversation Killer handbook as well, which takes everything from the video series and gives it into one neatly packaged handbook, which gives you a 4-week conversation blueprint. So something that you can follow, is easy to implement. So taking everything that you've learned, putting it into an easy, actionable handbook. They're just like added bonuses as well. There's loads of other shit as well. But yeah, just Conversation Killer. Link will be in the description. Pick it up now for its lowest ever price. The price will be going up. So if you're listening to this, you got in early, it's like getting in early for fucking real estate, then, it's like fucking crypto, like get in now. And what was the final thing? Oh yeah, the 4-week program as well. Everything, like go over to www.christiancasanova.com. December coaching. I'm going to be in London in December. I'm going to be making a load of like sick fucking content. I've got loads of fucking goodies lined up for you boys, which I'm going to be spreading out onto the YouTube channel. But yeah, if you want to work with me in the UK, then the final opportunity for you to do so will be in London next month in December. So if you want to secure your place, whether you want to work with me for a couple of hours, a single day, or a 3-day weekend, if you want to work with me for the 4 weeks as well, like get in contact with me, ukdaygame@gmail.com. All the details are on the website, www.christiancasanova.com. Yeah, I think that's everything, bro. I've enjoyed this one. Hope you've enjoyed it as well. I think there's a comments. Oh, fuck my fucking finger, bro. What's people been saying? I don't think there is anything. No, sound. Perfect. That's been good. Like usually like people like drop so much like questions and stuff, but yeah, if you're watching this back on repeat, I hope that you've enjoyed it. Right, I'm gonna shut the fuck up now before people start thinking I've gone like crazy and shit. But yeah, I hope you've got like a lot of value from this one, boys. I'm gonna like play my hair. But yeah, look forward to future infield content and stuff. Pew, pew, pew. Right, nice one. Love you. Stay sexy. Ta-da.